The sensor array flickered with unusual readings as the patrol fleet drifted through the Outer Rim territories. Commander Taurus leaned forward in his command chair, studying the data streaming across multiple displays. Something large had appeared on their scopes, floating motionless in the void between star systems. His crew worked quietly around him, their blue skin reflecting the soft glow of their instruments. Unknown vessel detected at bearing 273, the tactical officer announced. Distance approximately 40,000 kilometers. No identification beacon active. Taurus felt his twin hearts beat slightly faster. In 15 cycles of service, he had encountered many strange things in deep space, but unidentified ships always demanded caution. The Galactic Council maintained strict protocols for such encounters. Every vessel traveling through controlled space required proper identification and clearance. "Activate deep scanning protocols," he ordered. "Let us see what we have found." Valorian scanning systems hummed to life, sending waves of energy toward the mysterious craft. Within moments, data began populating across the tactical displays. Taurus watched the information flow with growing interest. The vessel measured roughly 400 meters in length, smaller than a Council battlecruiser but larger than a standard patrol ship. Its hull composition registered as primitive iron-carbon alloys, mixed with other basic metals. No energy shields protected its exterior. No advanced materials reinforced its structure. "This appears to be a very old ship," his second officer commented. "Perhaps a derelict from one of the extinct civilizations." Taurus considered that possibility. Throughout galactic history, many species had risen and fallen. Their abandoned vessels sometimes drifted through space for thousands of cycles, but something about this craft seemed different. The hull showed recent damage, fresh scars from weapons fire. Burn marks indicated recent combat. This ship had fought recently, not centuries ago. "Continue the scan," he said. "Penetrate deeper. I want to know everything about this vessel." The scanning systems obeyed, pushing past the outer hull and examining the internal structure. New information flooded the displays, and Taurus felt his confidence waver. The ship designation appeared in their database translation systems: UHSN Defiant, United Human Star Navy. A quick search of Council records returned nothing. No species called humans existed in any known database. No contact reports mentioned them. They were complete unknowns in a galaxy where the Council had cataloged millions of species over thousands of cycles. "Commander, the vessel classification reads as a destroyer," the tactical officer reported. "I am detecting life signs aboard. 340 crew members, all alive and functioning." That ruled out the derelict theory. This was an active warship from an unknown species, damaged but operational. Taurus knew he should feel relieved that first contact would happen peacefully. Instead, a cold feeling spread through his chest as the scanning systems began cataloging the weapons systems. The first alarm sounded when the scan detected nuclear warheads in the ship's launch bays. Taurus stared at the display in disbelief. Nuclear weapons had been banned by Galactic Council decree for 12,000 cycles. Only the most barbaric species still used such crude and destructive devices. The radiation alone made them illegal in civilized space. "That cannot be correct," he said. "Run the scan again." The system confirmed the reading. 24 nuclear warheads sat ready in launch tubes, each one capable of devastating a city. But the scan continued, and worse discoveries followed. The ship mounted kinetic railgun systems along its spine, weapons that accelerated solid projectiles to impossible velocities. The scan registered impact velocities approaching 1% of light speed. Such weapons could punch through standard Council shields like paper. Then the scanning systems found the antimatter storage pods. Taurus felt both hearts skip a beat. His hands gripped the arms of his command chair hard enough to make his knuckles pale. Antimatter, the most dangerous substance in the known universe. The last species to weaponize antimatter had been the Drethkar Imperium, 8,000 cycles ago. Their weapons had destroyed 3 entire star systems before the Council managed to stop them. After that catastrophe, antimatter weapons became the most serious violation of galactic law possible. "How many antimatter torpedoes?" he asked, his voice barely steady. 8 torpedoes, Commander, each one stored in a heavy containment pod. The energy readings suggest they are active and ready for deployment. 8 weapons that could each annihilate a Council battlecruiser with a single hit. 8 weapons aboard a vessel from a species nobody had ever heard of. 8 weapons that were supposed to exist only in historical archives about extinct civilizations too violent to survive their own destructive capabilities. Why would any species arm a simple destroyer with such firepower? His second officer whispered. These weapons are meant for planetary assault or fleet engagements. Talrus had no answer. He stared at the data, trying to make sense of it. This human ship carried enough firepower to threaten an entire Council fleet. The primitive hull materials and lack of energy shields suggested a technologically inferior species, yet their weapons technology far exceeded anything the Council fielded. How could such a contradiction exist? "Commander, the human vessel is powering up," the tactical officer announced urgently. "Their reactor output is increasing rapidly. Weapons systems are activating." Red warning lights flashed across every display. The Defiant, which had appeared dead and helpless moments ago, suddenly came alive. Power surged through its systems. Weapon ports opened along its hull. Most terrifying of all, targeting sensors locked onto every Council ship in the patrol fleet simultaneously. 6 vessels, all locked and ready to be engaged. They were listening to us the entire time, Talrus realized with horror. They knew we were scanning them. A voice crackled across the communication system, speaking in perfect galactic standard despite this species supposedly being unknown. The translation was flawless, the accent neutral. Whoever these humans were, they had been preparing for this moment. "This is Captain David Brooks of the United Human Star Navy destroyer Defiant. Identify yourselves and state your intentions. Are you hostile forces, or are you offering assistance to a damaged vessel?" The question hung in the space between the 2 groups of ships. Talrus looked at his displays, at the weapons pointed at his fleet, at the nuclear warheads and antimatter torpedoes that could reduce his patrol group to scattered atoms. He thought about Council first contact protocols. He thought about the responsibility of representing galactic civilization to a new species. Mostly, he thought about making sure nobody did anything that would start a battle his fleet could not possibly win. "Prepare a diplomatic response," he ordered quietly, "and someone contact High Command. Tell them we have found something they need to know about immediately." Talrus took 3 deep breaths before responding to the human transmission. His training emphasized remaining calm during first contact situations, but nothing in the protocols covered dealing with a species armed like they expected to fight the entire galaxy. He activated the communication system and chose his words carefully. "This is Commander Talrus of the Valorian Patrol Fleet, representing the Galactic Council. We detected your vessel adrift and initiated standard identification procedures. We mean no harm and offer assistance if needed." Silence stretched for several heartbeats. The human ship maintained its weapons lock, neither advancing nor retreating. Finally, Captain Brooks responded with a tone that suggested mild amusement rather than concern. "Appreciated, Commander. My ship suffered engine damage 3 days ago during an engagement with raiders. We were attempting repairs when you arrived. I apologize if our defensive posture seemed aggressive. We have had some difficult encounters recently." Raiders. The word caught Talrus's attention immediately. Pirate activity had increased dramatically in the Outer Rim over the past 2 cycles. Merchant vessels went missing. Small colonies reported attacks. The Council fleet had been unable to locate the main raider bases despite extensive patrols. "We can offer repair facilities at the nearest Council station," Talrus said. May I ask what raiders you encountered? We have been tracking several criminal groups in this region." Another pause followed. Taurus imagined the human captain considering how much information to share. Trust had to be built carefully during first contact. Both sides needed to feel secure before meaningful cooperation could begin. "They used older council technology according to our analysis," Brooks replied. "6 vessels, medium cruiser class, poorly maintained but heavily armed. They demanded we surrender our ship and cargo. When we refused, they opened fire. We defended ourselves." 6 raiders against 1 damaged destroyer. Taurus felt a chill run through him as he realized what that meant. The human ship had fought 6 enemy vessels and survived. More than survived, actually, since the Defiant remained functional enough to maintain weapons lock on 6 council ships. How much firepower did these humans actually possess? "Captain Brooks, I would like to propose a face-to-face meeting," Taurus said. "Our species should establish proper diplomatic contact. I can shuttle over to your vessel if that would be acceptable." He watched his tactical displays while waiting for the response. The human weapons remained active but not charged for firing, a positive sign. Species preparing for combat typically charge their weapons fully. The humans seemed cautious but not hostile. "You are welcome aboard the Defiant, Commander. I will have my crew prepare for your arrival. Standard atmospheric mixture should be acceptable for Valorian biology based on our scans. Fair warning, though, my ship is pretty beat up right now." Taurus allowed himself a small smile at that last comment. At least the humans had a sense of humor. He selected 2 officers to accompany him and ordered a shuttle prepared. Before departing, he sent an encrypted message to Council High Command explaining the situation. They needed to know about this discovery immediately. The shuttle ride to the human ship took only minutes. As they approached, Taurus studied the Defiant's exterior through the viewport. Scorch marks covered large sections of the hull. Several armor plates showed deep gouges from energy weapons. A few areas had been hastily patched with what looked like welded metal plates. The ship had clearly taken a beating but remained operational through sheer toughness. The hangar bay doors opened smoothly despite the visible damage to surrounding systems. Inside, Taurus observed a functional space that prioritized utility over aesthetics. Human crew members moved efficiently through their duties, glancing at the Valorian visitors with curiosity but not fear. They wore simple uniforms in dark blue and gray, with various insignia that probably indicated rank and specialty. The humans themselves looked surprisingly ordinary compared to some species Taurus had met. They stood shorter than Valorians, with only 2 arms, 2 legs, and a single head. Their skin came in varying shades of brown and tan. Hair grew from their heads in different colors and styles. Their eyes showed alertness and intelligence as they watched the alien visitors walk through their ship. A human with gray hair and captain's insignia waited near the hangar entrance. He stood with relaxed confidence, neither aggressive nor submissive. When Taurus approached, the human extended his right hand in what appeared to be a greeting gesture. "Captain David Brooks," the human said, "welcome aboard the Defiant. I appreciate you coming over personally rather than making demands from a distance." Taurus carefully clasped the human hand, nodding the firm grip and brief shake. Cultural exchange could begin with simple gestures like this. "Commander Taurus, I am interested in learning about your people and establishing peaceful relations." Brooks led them through the ship's corridors toward what he called the briefing room. Along the way, Taurus observed more signs of battle damage and ongoing repairs. Crew members worked on exposed systems, replacing damaged components and rewiring connections. The humans clearly knew their ship well and maintained it despite difficult circumstances. The briefing room contained a large table with chairs and multiple display screens. Brooks offered refreshments, which Taurus politely declined, and then activated one of the displays. A star map appeared showing a region of space that overlapped with Council territory but extended far beyond it. Humanity comes from a system about 200 light-years from here, Brooks explained, pointing to a location on the map. We achieved faster-than-light travel about 30 years ago and have been exploring ever since. The Defiant is one of our deep space exploration vessels, tasked with making contact with other civilizations if we found any. Taurus studied the map with great interest. The human territory sat in a relatively isolated region that Council scouts had marked as low priority for exploration. No wonder nobody had encountered them before. Your weapons technology seems quite advanced for such a young spacefaring species, Taurus said carefully, trying to broach the subject diplomatically. Brooks smiled slightly, a human expression that Taurus interpreted as understanding the unspoken concern. Humanity spent a long time fighting each other before we reached the stars. We learned to build effective weapons out of necessity. Those same weapons help us survive in a galaxy that turned out to be more dangerous than we hoped. Nuclear weapons and antimatter torpedoes are considered extremely dangerous by Council standards, Taurus said. The antimatter weapons in particular have been banned for 8,000 cycles. The human captain looked genuinely surprised by that statement. Banned? Why? They are extremely effective for disabling enemy vessels with minimal collateral damage compared to sustained bombardment. Now Taurus felt surprised. The humans actually considered antimatter weapons a precision tool rather than a weapon of mass destruction. What kind of warfare had humanity experienced that made them think that way? Captain, an antimatter torpedo can destroy a battlecruiser completely. The explosion can damage vessels thousands of kilometers away. How is that minimal collateral damage? Brooks nodded slowly. I see the confusion. Our antimatter weapons are designed with very precise yields and carefully controlled detonations. We use them to disable ship systems, not vaporize the entire vessel. Though I suppose if you hit the reactor or ammunition storage, the results would be catastrophic. The casual way Brooks discussed weapons that could end civilizations made Taurus realize just how different human military thinking was from Council doctrine. The galaxy might not be ready for what humanity brought to the table. The conversation in the briefing room continued for nearly an hour. Taurus asked careful questions about human culture, technology, and intentions. Brooks answered openly, showing star charts of human exploration routes and providing basic information about Earth's government structure. The human captain seemed genuinely interested in peaceful contact and cultural exchange. We have been alone in the universe for our entire history, Brooks explained. Finding other intelligent species has been humanity's dream for centuries. When we finally developed faster-than-light travel, exploration became our highest priority. Taurus appreciated the human's straightforward manner. Some species approached first contact with suspicion and hidden agendas. Brooks spoke directly and honestly, which made the conversation much easier. I notice your ship is named Defiant, Taurus said. Is there significance to that name? Brooks smiled. In human culture, defiance means standing firm against threats or refusing to surrender when faced with overwhelming odds. Our ships are often named for qualities we admire. Courage, determination, resilience, that sort of thing. Before Taurus could respond, his communication device chirped urgently. He excused himself and checked the incoming message. His second officer reported that 3 Council battlecruisers had just arrived, commanded by Admiral Corvith. The Admiral was demanding immediate status updates and wanted to know why Taurus had boarded an unknown alien vessel. I apologize, Captain, but my superior officer has arrived, Taurus said. Admiral Corvith will want to speak with you directly. He can be somewhat difficult in first contact situations. Brooks raised one eyebrow, another human expression that Taurus was learning to interpret. Difficult how? He prefers military solutions to diplomatic ones, Taurus admitted. I should return to my ship and brief him before he does something regrettable. The human captain walked Taurus back to the hangar bay. As they traveled through the corridors, an alarm suddenly blared throughout the ship. Human crew members immediately moved to alert positions without panic or confusion. Brooks touched a communication panel on the wall. "Report," he said calmly. 3 large vessels just dropped out of FTL nearby, a human voice responded. "They are taking up attack formation around our position. The patrol ships are moving to intercept." Brooks glanced at Taurus. "Your admiral." "Most likely," Taurus confirmed, feeling dread settle in his stomach. Corvith had a reputation for aggressive posturing. He probably intended to intimidate the unknown human vessel into submission. The admiral had no idea what kind of firepower he was threatening. They reached the hangar quickly. Taurus hurried to his shuttle while Brooks went to the Defiance bridge. The short flight back to his patrol cruiser gave Taurus just enough time to consider how badly this situation could deteriorate. 3 battlecruisers represented significant firepower, but not enough to guarantee victory against the human destroyer. The casualties on both sides would be catastrophic if combat started. Admiral Corvith's stern face filled the communication screen as soon as Taurus reached his bridge. The admiral was a large Valorian with dark blue skin and battle scars from numerous conflicts. He believed strongly in maintaining council authority through military strength. "Commander Taurus, explain why you boarded an unknown vessel without proper security protocols," Corvith demanded. "Admiral, the humans are not hostile," Taurus said quickly. "They are explorers who suffered damage fighting raiders. I recommend a diplomatic approach to establish formal relations." Corvith's expression darkened. "I have reviewed the scan data you transmitted. This human ship carries illegal weapons including antimatter torpedoes. Under council law, such weapons must be confiscated immediately and the vessel impounded." "Admiral, please listen. The humans do not know our laws. They have had no prior contact with the council. We cannot simply seize their ship." "Watch me," Corvith said coldly. He switched to the General Fleet channel. "Attention, human vessel Defiant. This is Admiral Corvith of the Galactic Council Defense Fleet. You are in violation of multiple weapons treaties. Power down all systems and prepare to be boarded. Failure to comply will result in the destruction of your vessel." Taurus closed his eyes briefly, knowing what would happen next. The communication system crackled as Captain Brooks responded, his tone still calm but now carrying an edge of steel. "Admiral Corvith, the Defiant is a vessel of the United Human Star Navy operating under Earth authority. We do not recognize your claimed jurisdiction over our ship or weapons. We came here peacefully and will leave peacefully, but we will not surrender our vessel." "You have 10 minutes to comply," Corvith replied. "After that, my fleet will open fire." The 3 battlecruisers moved into optimal firing positions around the human destroyer. Their weapons powered up, energy readings spiking across tactical displays. The Defiant responded by activating its own systems. Those terrifying railguns swiveled toward the Council ships. Launch tubes opened, revealing the nuclear missiles within. Most ominously, the antimatter torpedo bays showed ready status. Taurus accessed the tactical computer and ran a combat simulation. The results made his blood run cold. Despite numerical superiority, the Council fleet had only a 33% chance of destroying the Defiant. The human ship would almost certainly destroy at least 1 battlecruiser before being overwhelmed. More likely 2. Possibly all 3 if the humans used their antimatter weapons effectively. "Admiral, our tactical analysis shows extremely high casualties if we engage," Taurus reported over a private channel. "I strongly recommend against attacking." "I am aware of the projections," Corvith snapped. "Which is why the humans must surrender. We cannot allow a species with such destructive weapons to operate freely in Council space." then we are at an impasse that will likely result in the deaths of thousands of crew members on both sides, Taurus said. Is that acceptable to you? Before Corvith could respond, Captain Brooks's voice came over the communication system again, this time addressing all Council vessels. Admiral Commander Taurus, I would like to propose an alternative to violence. Let me demonstrate our capabilities in a way that harms no one. There is an asteroid field 300 kilometers from our current position. Allow me to show you what human weapons can do against an inanimate target. Then you can make an informed decision about whether combat is wise. Taurus saw the opportunity immediately. Admiral, this is a reasonable request. We gain valuable intelligence about human capabilities without risking lives. Corvith hesitated, clearly torn between his aggressive instincts and tactical prudence. Finally, he made his decision. Very well, Captain Brooks. Demonstrate your weapons. But know that if you attempt any hostile action toward my fleet, we will respond with overwhelming force. Understood, Admiral, Brooks replied. I am designating an asteroid approximately 2 kilometers in diameter. I will fire one railgun at minimum power setting. Please observe. Every sensor in the Council fleet focused on the target asteroid. The Defiant rotated slightly, bringing one of its main railguns to bear. There was no visible flash or energy discharge, just a brief electromagnetic spike. 2 seconds later, the asteroid shattered into thousands of pieces. Fragments glowed red from the kinetic impact, spreading outward in an expanding cloud of debris. Taurus stared at the data in shock. The projectile had been traveling at nearly 1% of light speed. The impact energy equaled a small nuclear detonation, and that was minimum power. The silence that followed the railgun demonstration lasted nearly a full minute. Every officer in the Council fleet stared at their sensor readings, trying to process what they had just witnessed. The weapon had been fired at minimum power, yet the destructive force exceeded most conventional Council weapons at maximum output. Admiral Corvith finally broke the silence, his voice noticeably less aggressive than before. That was your weakest weapon system. Our railguns have variable power settings depending on the target, Brooks replied. For unshielded asteroids, minimum power is sufficient. Against shielded warships, we would use significantly higher velocity. Our nuclear missiles provide different tactical options, and the antimatter weapons are reserved for capital ship engagements. Taurus watched his tactical officer run new combat projections based on the demonstrated capabilities. The updated simulations were even worse than the original estimates. The Defiant could potentially destroy all 3 battlecruisers before being disabled. The human ship would certainly be destroyed in return, but the cost made such combat completely unacceptable. Captain Brooks, help me understand something, Corvith said, his tone shifting from threatening to genuinely curious. Why does an exploration vessel carry such devastating firepower? Your ship is designed to make peaceful contact with other species, yet you arm it like a warship. Because the galaxy turned out to be dangerous, Admiral, Brooks answered. We sent out our first exploration ships 30 years ago. Some never returned. Others came back with reports of pirate attacks, territorial disputes, and hostile encounters. We learned that exploring unknown space requires the ability to defend yourself. The Defiant is both an exploration vessel and a destroyer because those roles are inseparable for humanity. The human philosophy made sense in a harsh way. Earth had developed faster than light travel only recently. They had no allies, no established trade routes, no knowledge of safe passage through the galaxy. Every jump into unexplored space was a risk. Of course, they armed their ships heavily. I am beginning to understand your perspective, Corvith admitted. But you must understand ours as well. The Galactic Council maintains order through strict weapons regulations. Species that possess antimatter weapons have historically used them for conquest and destruction. We cannot simply ignore your capabilities. What if we proved our intentions through actions rather than words? Brooks suggested. Commander Talrus mentioned increased raider activity in this region. The pirates that attacked us used Council technology. I recorded their energy signatures and can track where they fled. Let us help you eliminate this threat. Judge humanity by what we do, not what we carry. Talrus felt a spark of hope at the proposal. The Broken Fang pirate group had been terrorizing the Outer Rim for 2 cycles. Council fleets had failed repeatedly to locate their hidden bases. If the humans could actually track the raiders, it would solve a significant security problem. You can track faster than light signatures, Corvith asked skeptically. Our sensor technology developed differently than yours, Brooks explained. We focused on detection and tracking rather than energy shields and directed energy weapons. The pirates that attacked us left a clear trail when they retreated. I can follow it. Admiral Corvith considered the proposal for a long moment. Talrus could see the internal struggle on his superior's face. The Admiral wanted to maintain Council authority, but also recognized an opportunity to solve a major problem. Finally, pragmatism won. Very well, Captain Brooks. I will allow you to lead us to the pirate base, but my fleet will maintain combat readiness, and if you attempt any hostile action, we will respond immediately. Fair enough, Admiral, Brooks said. Transmitting the tracking data to your fleet now. The trail leads toward an uninhabited system about 6 light years from here. I suggest we proceed cautiously. The combined fleet jumped to faster than light travel, following the energy signature trail left by the fleeing raiders. Talrus used the travel time to file detailed reports with Council High Command. The discovery of humanity would send shockwaves through the galactic government. Some would see the humans as dangerous threats. Others would recognize them as potential allies. The debate would rage for cycles. They dropped back into normal space at the edge of an asteroid-filled system. Passive sensors immediately detected artificial structures hidden among the larger rocks. The pirates had built a base inside a hollowed-out asteroid, disguising it to look like natural formations. Dozens of ships docked to the exterior, their energy signatures matching known raider vessels. Impressive tracking, Captain, Corvith said. We have been searching for this base for months. The pirates are detecting our arrival, Talrus reported. They are powering up their ships and preparing to launch. The asteroid base erupted with activity as raiders scrambled to defend their territory. 18 vessels undocked and formed a defensive screen around the base. They were a mix of old Council military ships and captured civilian transports modified for combat. Individually, each raider was poorly maintained and weakly armed. Collectively, they outnumbered the Council and human forces. All ships, battle formation, Corvith ordered. His 3 battle cruisers moved into position with the 6 patrol cruisers. The Defiant took up a position slightly ahead of the Council formation. The pirate commander broadcast on an open channel, his voice full of arrogance. Council dogs have finally found us. Good. We will add your ships to our collection, and that primitive human vessel will make a fine prize. Brooks responded with unsettling calmness. You attacked my ship 3 days ago and killed 6 of my crew. I am here to ensure you never harm anyone else. The pirates laughed, clearly not taking the threat seriously. They saw a single damaged destroyer supported by Council vessels they had evaded for cycles. Their confidence would prove fatal. All raiders, attack formation, the pirate commander ordered. Focus on the human ship first. Show them what happens to primitives who enter our territory. 6 raider vessels broke from the main formation and accelerated toward the Defiant. They fired plasma torpedoes and particle beams as they closed, weapons designed to overwhelm shields through sustained bombardment. Against most targets, the tactic worked effectively. Against the human destroyer, it was a terrible mistake. The Defiant's point defense systems activated instantly. Automated turrets tracked every incoming projectile with computer precision. Kinetic rounds streaked out, intercepting plasma torpedoes before they could reach the hull. The particle beams struck armor plating, scoring the surface but failing to penetrate. "Point defense is impressive," Talris murmured, watching the tactical display. "Their tracking systems are incredibly accurate." Then the Defiant fired back, and impressive became terrifying. The main railgun spoke in rapid succession, launching tungsten projectiles at tremendous velocity. The first shot struck a raider cruiser directly, punching through its energy shields like they did not exist. The projectile continued through the ship from bow to stern, leaving a glowing hole through the entire vessel. Atmosphere and debris fountained from both ends as the raider tumbled out of control. 2 seconds later, another railgun fired. Another raider died. Then another. The remaining 3 raiders that had so confidently attacked suddenly broke formation and tried to retreat. Brooks gave them no mercy. The Defiant's targeting systems tracked them easily, and 3 more railgun shots ended their escape attempts. 6 raiders destroyed in less than 20 seconds. The remaining pirate formation hesitated, clearly shocked by the devastating display of firepower. Talris understood their fear completely. He had just watched a single ship eliminate 6 targets with casual efficiency that made Council weapons seem inadequate. The pirate formation fell into chaos after witnessing the destruction of their forward attack group. Ships scattered in different directions, some trying to retreat to the asteroid base, while others attempted to flee the system entirely. The unified defensive line collapsed into individual vessels fighting for survival. Admiral Corvith seized the opportunity immediately. "All Council ships engage at will. Do not let them escape." The Council battlecruisers opened fire with directed energy weapons, targeting the nearest raiders. Particle beams and plasma cannons struck pirate shields, gradually overwhelming their defenses through sustained bombardment. The patrol cruisers focused on cutting off escape routes, herding the raiders back toward the main engagement area. Captain Brooks coordinated with the Council forces seamlessly, sharing targeting data through their linked tactical systems. The human sensors provided tracking information far superior to standard Council equipment. Every raider movement was predicted and countered. Every attempted escape was blocked. The pirates had walked into a trap of their own making. A group of 4 raiders tried to break through the Council line by concentrating their fire on a single battlecruiser. Their combined weapons managed to breach the shields in one section, exposing the armored hull beneath. Before they could exploit the opening, the Defiant intervened. Brooks launched 2 nuclear missiles at the attacking raiders. The missiles accelerated far faster than conventional Council weapons, crossing the distance in seconds. The pirates attempted to shoot them down with point defense, but the missiles detonated before impact. Twin nuclear explosions erupted in space, not close enough to destroy the raiders, but near enough to unleash devastating electromagnetic pulses. The raiders' shields flickered and died as the EMP waves washed over them. Their weapon systems went offline. Even their maneuvering thrusters stopped functioning. The 4 vessels drifted helplessly, completely disabled by the unconventional attack. "Secure those vessels for capture," Corvith ordered. "I want the crews alive for interrogation." Talris watched the battle unfold with a mixture of awe and concern. The human weapons were not just powerful but incredibly versatile. The railguns provided devastating direct fire. The nuclear weapons could disable multiple targets without destroying them. He wondered what the antimatter torpedoes could do and hoped he would never need to find out. The remaining raiders recognized they were losing badly. 8 of their vessels had been destroyed or disabled within the first few minutes of combat. The pirate commander made a desperate decision. 5 of his largest ships activated their weapons simultaneously and fired everything they had at the Defiant. Dozens of plasma torpedoes and particle beams converged on the human destroyer from multiple angles. The Defiant's point defense systems worked frantically to intercept the incoming barrage. Kinetic rounds destroyed most of the torpedoes, but a few got through. 3 plasma warheads struck the ship's hull, exploding against the armor plating. Particle beams raked across the starboard side, melting metal and cutting into internal compartments. "The human ship has taken damage," Talrus reported. "Hull breaches on 3 decks, casualties reported." But the Defiant remained in the fight. Emergency bulkheads sealed the damaged sections. Damage control teams deployed immediately to contain fires and restore systems. The ship's toughness became apparent. It was designed to absorb punishment and continue fighting. Captain Brooks's response to being damaged was swift and merciless. "Target those 5 vessels with antimatter torpedoes. Fire when ready." A single torpedo launched from the Defiant's forward bay. The weapon accelerated to incredible speed, crossing the distance to the pirate formation in less than 3 seconds. The pirates tried desperately to intercept it, throwing up every defensive measure they possessed. Nothing worked. The antimatter torpedo struck the lead pirate cruiser directly. For a fraction of a second, nothing seemed to happen. Then matter met antimatter, and the resulting annihilation released more energy than a star produces in hours. The pirate cruiser simply ceased to exist, vaporized instantly by the reaction. The expanding wave of energy engulfed the 2 nearest raiders, their shields collapsing under the impossible strain. Both vessels suffered catastrophic damage, breaking apart as their hulls melted. The 2 remaining raiders that had participated in the attack on the Defiant immediately transmitted surrender signals. Their weapon systems powered down. Their crews abandoned ship in escape pods, preferring capture to continuing the fight. "Secure the escape pods," Corvith ordered. "I want every pirate in custody." The battle was effectively over. 3 raiders managed to jump to faster than light speed and escape the system. The rest were either destroyed, disabled, or surrendered. The pirate base itself sat defenseless, its protective fleet eliminated. Council boarding teams secured the facility within an hour, capturing dozens more pirates and seizing massive stockpiles of stolen goods. Talrus reviewed the casualty reports with mixed feelings. The Council fleet had suffered only minor damage and no deaths. The Defiant had taken significant hits but remained combat-capable. 23 human crew members were injured, and 6 had died in the initial pirate attack 3 days earlier. On the pirate side, over 400 were dead and more than 200 captured. The battle had been remarkably one-sided despite the pirates' numerical advantage. Human weapons technology combined with Council tactics created a devastating force multiplier. Talrus understood why Admiral Corvith looked troubled despite the victory. After the immediate aftermath was handled, Brooks invited both Corvith and Talrus aboard the Defiant for a meeting. They gathered in the same briefing room where Talrus had first spoken with the human captain. The room showed new damage from the recent combat. Scorch marks darkened one wall. A cracked display screen flickered intermittently. "Congratulations on the victory, Captain," Corvith said. "Your weapons proved extremely effective." Brooks accepted the compliment with a slight nod but showed no pride or satisfaction. "We lost good people in this fight and the previous engagement. Victory does not make their deaths easier to accept." That statement seemed to resonate with Corvith. The Admiral's expression softened slightly. "You understand the cost of combat. That is not something I expected from a species that arms exploration vessels so heavily." "Humanity learned about war's true cost through painful experience," Brooks said quietly. "We fought each other for thousands of years before reaching the stars. Millions died in conflicts over resources, territory, and ideology. We built powerful weapons because we knew how to kill efficiently. But we also learned that strength without wisdom leads only to destruction." Talrus spoke up, seeing an opportunity. "Admiral, the pirates we captured will provide intelligence about their entire network. This could be the beginning of a major operation to clear the outer rim of raider activity. Having human support would be invaluable." "I was thinking the same thing," Corvith admitted. Captain Brooks, would humanity be willing to assist the Council in eliminating these pirate bases? Your technology and tactics would save countless lives. Brooks considered the proposal carefully. I would need authorization from my superiors. The Defiant is an exploration vessel, not a military assault ship. But I can transmit your request to Earth Command and recommend cooperation. Humanity has been searching for allies among the stars. Perhaps we have found them in the Galactic Council. 2 weeks passed after the pirate base assault. During that time, the Defiant underwent extensive repairs at a Council orbital facility. Human engineers worked alongside Valorian technicians, sharing knowledge and techniques. The cultural exchange proved fascinating for both species. Taurus visited the human ship regularly, observing the repair work and learning about human technology. He discovered that their engineering philosophy differed fundamentally from Council approaches. Where Council vessels prioritized energy efficiency and elegant solutions, human ships emphasized redundancy and ruggedness. Every critical system had backups. Every compartment could be sealed independently. The design assumed the ship would take damage and needed to keep fighting anyway. Your people expect war, Taurus commented one day while watching human crew members replace damaged armor plates. Captain Brooks, standing beside him, nodded thoughtfully. We prepare for the worst while hoping for the best. Earth's history taught us that peace is precious because it is fragile. Strong defenses help preserve it. Earth Command's response arrived in the middle of the second week. A diplomatic vessel accompanied by 2 additional human destroyers jumped into the system. Taurus watched them arrive with interest. The new destroyers looked similar to the Defiant but showed no battle damage. Their hulls gleamed with fresh construction, and their weapons systems radiated ominous power. Ambassador Rachel Foster led the human diplomatic delegation. She was a tall woman with dark skin and sharp eyes that missed nothing. Her first meeting with Council representatives set a professional but friendly tone. She came prepared with detailed proposals for trade agreements, technology exchanges, and military cooperation. The negotiations took place aboard Council Prime Station, the administrative center for this region of space. Taurus attended as a military advisor, sitting beside Admiral Corvith while representatives from multiple species debated humanity's role in galactic affairs. Some Council members expressed concern about human military capabilities. Others saw opportunity in forming an alliance with such an effective fighting force. The debate continued for 3 days before reaching compromise positions that satisfied most parties. The resulting treaty established formal diplomatic relations between humanity and the Galactic Council. Trade routes opened between Earth and Council worlds. Technology sharing programs began, carefully structured to benefit both sides. Most significantly, a joint military task force was created to combat piracy in the Outer Rim. Captain Brooks received command of the task force's human contingent, consisting of the 3 destroyers currently in Council space. Admiral Corvith would lead the Council forces. Taurus was promoted to captain and given command of a battlecruiser squadron assigned to work with the humans. Their first joint operation targeted the pirate network identified through interrogations of captured raiders. Intelligence reports revealed 7 major bases spread across 4 star systems. The combined fleet set out to eliminate them systematically. The first base fell within hours of the fleet's arrival. Pirates monitoring the approach saw 3 human destroyers and 6 Council battlecruisers. They chose surrender over combat. Nobody wanted to face human weapons after word had spread about the previous battle. The second base tried to fight. 12 raider vessels emerged to defend their territory. The battle lasted only 8 minutes. Human railguns and Council energy weapons complemented each other perfectly. The raiders were overwhelmed by coordinated firepower they could not counter or escape. By the 4th base, pirates began abandoning their facilities before the fleet even arrived. Raider commanders recognized they could not win against the Human Council alliance. Some fled to unknown regions beyond Council space. Others surrendered peacefully, hopping for lenient treatment. The operation that Council forces had struggled with for 2 cycles was completed in 6 weeks. The Outer Rim became significantly safer for merchant traffic and civilian colonies. Trade increased as shipping companies no longer feared pirate attacks. Grateful colonists sent messages thanking the Joint Fleet for their protection. During the campaign, human and Council crew members developed mutual respect. Council officers admired human tactical innovation and combat effectiveness. Human personnel appreciated Council technology and established logistical systems. Both sides learned from each other, creating a combined fighting force more capable than either could achieve alone. Taurus found himself becoming friends with Brooks during their time working together. They shared meals, discussed philosophy, and debated military tactics. The human captain possessed a thoughtful nature that contrasted with his devastating effectiveness in combat. He was a warrior who genuinely preferred peace but would not hesitate to fight when necessary. "You seem troubled," Taurus observed one evening while they reviewed reports in the Defiance briefing room. Brooks smiled slightly. "I am thinking about first contact. When your fleet found us, I thought we might have to fight our way out. Instead, we found allies. The galaxy turned out better than expected." "You expected hostility." "Humanity's history is full of encounters between different groups that ended badly," Brooks explained. "When we reached the stars, we prepared for the worst-case scenario. We built weapons capable of fighting any threat, but we always hoped we would find friends instead of enemies." Taurus understood that perspective now. Humanity's aggressive appearance masked a species that desperately wanted connection with others. They armed themselves heavily because they feared loneliness and potential threats equally. Meeting the Galactic Council had given them something they had sought for generations. 6 months after first contact, a formal ceremony took place aboard Council Prime Station. Representatives from Earth and dozens of Council species gathered to celebrate the new alliance. Ambassador Foster and High Counselor Yeltris signed additional treaties covering everything from trade regulations to mutual defense commitments. Captain Brooks stood beside Taurus during the ceremony, both wearing their dress uniforms. The human looked uncomfortable in the formal attire, preferring his regular duty uniform. "This is what we dreamed about," Brooks said quietly. "Finding our place among the stars, proving we could be more than just warriors." "You proved that the moment you chose cooperation over conflict," Taurus replied. "Your weapons frightened us initially, but your wisdom earned our respect. The galaxy is better for having humanity as part of it." The ceremony concluded with speeches about friendship between species and hopes for peaceful cooperation. Taurus half listened while thinking about how much had changed since that day. He detected an unknown vessel drifting in space. One damaged ship had become a bridge between civilizations. Later, Brooks returned to the Defiant to prepare for the ship's journey home. After 6 months away, his crew deserved leave on Earth. They had completed their mission beyond anyone's expectations, establishing humanity's reputation among the stars. Taurus accompanied him to the hangar bay, wanting to say goodbye properly. "When will you return?" 3 months, Brooks replied. "Earth Command is sending a permanent diplomatic and military presence. The Defiant will return as part of the regular patrol rotation. This is my sector now." They clasped hands in the human gesture Taurus had learned. "I look forward to serving with you again, Captain." Brooks smiled. "Likewise, Captain Taurus, take care of the Outer Rim while I am gone." The Defiant departed Council space that evening, jumping to faster than light speed toward Earth. Taurus watched the ship disappear, knowing it would return. Humanity had found its place in the galactic community, and that place was as both warriors and peacemakers. Their weapons had opened the door, but their character had secured lasting friendship. The Council had scanned a human warship and discovered something unexpected. Not just advanced weapons or aggressive tactics, but a species that understood both war's necessity and peace's value. In the end, that balance was what the galaxy needed most.